Welcome to Lighting the Bay, where bicycle kicks don't require wheels. Hi, I'm Brian. Oh my god, go! Introduce
You
yourselves! Oh,
you gotta
me?
introduce.
Oh, so that's Colin and that's Liam. And we're here
Oh,
to. Oh my goodness. We're here to break down Rhode Island FC throughout the season, focusing on statistical and tactical analysis, but with our amateur twist. I'm reading that
mm,
off a thing. Now,
reading
what are
that
we
Yeah,
what are
through the
we doing
roof.
today?
yeah. Today we're gonna start breaking down our new signings this season. We got
All seven of them.
all seven. We got Maxi Rodriguez from Detroit. We got Hugo
Detroit.
Backrack from Flint City Buck, and also Minnesota United. Kind of, he was drafted by them,
Shout
but
out
then went to
Morris
us. Similar
Dugan.
to shout out Morris Dugan. Very similar situation with Jackson. Um, we got Danny Riviere from Pittsburgh. Aldair Sanchez from Sacramento. Uh, Taimu. Oh,
Oh
Don't
my
know
goodness.
last name.
Okiyoshi.
Tokyoshi?
Okiyoshi.
Okioshi. I didn't type it out.
Yeah, we forgot last
Oki.
names. We also have Cole Dewhurst and Will Meyer.
Yeah, so that's
Think of
them.
that.
That's our boys going into this season. Transfer window is technically still open because I don't think the USL transfer window ever stops. It
Yeah,
just freezes. I don't know.
at
Nobody really
some
knows.
arbitrary point so late in the season.
Yeah,
It's
it's
crazy.
like basically I think there's like a playoff freeze. Anyways, talking about Maxi Rodriguez first.
We're absolutely starting with our new edition of a first team all
USL.
league. Yeah,
Yeah.
all USL. Maxi Rodriguez, attacking midfielder, demon, absolute demon mode. This guy, he's 5'11", so not short, but in comparison to the rest of the team throughout the midfield, a little short.
10 inches
Physicality,
taller than you, right?
yeah. Oh my God, like you just
Colin's
he
4'8", so anyone's taller than him.
yeah, it's bad news. He plays above his size, though. He's an absolute just workhorse throughout the midfield. But he intrigued me when I was looking into what he does because I was expecting kind of another like Noah Fuson esque player when we signed him. But looking through, incredibly different player. He loves to pull up in kind of right behind the two strikers in Detroit. He loves what you love, Liam, which is a good outside to in diagonal run throughout the box. Uh, I don't really have stats on what he, you know, percentages of runs he can do like that. But talking about his physicality, last year he was the star player for Detroit. He played 2,753 minutes. He started 31 games and pretty much played full 90s in all of them. The guy just works his ass off. That is huge for a Cano Smith team. But what really impresses me about him is his versatility that he'll bring to our team. We weren't ever really getting stale, especially by the end of the year, but we had that triangle out on the left, and Noah Fuson ended up, floating all across the front line. And I think Maxi brings this dynamism, shout out that word, that I think really will add a different flair to how Kano can line up this midfield. If we want to go take a quick peek, I'm going to pull up this goal that he helps or that he ends up scoring. So what really impresses me about Maxi, he's number 21, he's receiving the ball right now, is he plays out on the wings a lot, which is something that we normally do. But he makes top of the box, outside in run, ends up being a cover,
Look
like
at that.
open cutback. And he was the Detroit City leading scorer last year with 10 goals, came up with 5 assists. What's important about those goals is 3 of them were penalty kicks. A few of them were tap ins, but he is really aware and intelligent inside the box. So he makes really good runs in and around two different ends of the posts. So he scored a goal against Lou City on a free kick, outside to in, header, far post. Just really intelligent runner inside the midfield. I'm going to pull up his FOTMob page and share that with y'all because let me tell you, this man is swimming in the green when you look at all of his stats going across the league. He is statistically one of the best attacking midfielders in the USL Championship, just for, attacking sake. But also, as we can see, he's a very good passer, 837, but he's mainly a short passer. He doesn't really bust out a lot of long, rangy passes like Clay would. He has it in his arsenal, but that wasn't really his task down in Detroit. But what we can also tell is that he likes getting on the ball. I thought he was going to drop in a lot more, but he ends up getting a lot of play at the top end of the field in the final third. I think a lot of his defending stats lend credence to a good style of how we will end up playing and using him, because we use a high press when we play. That spearhead through with Joe Brito leading it between the two strikers. Most of these tackles that he wins, all of this green for his defending, happens at the top end of the field. He was the spearhead of the Detroit City press. He is an incredible vocal leader when it comes to leading. And I mean, the hair, he looks great. I love
Yeah,
it.
he's got
I
nice
love
hair.
everything about it.
He
I
also. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just going to make a comment. I mean, probably solidifies us as having one of the top midfields in the league after probably having one of the top midfields already in the league. I mean, him
Yeah.
with Zach and Clay and Mark, it's
Yeah.
a different grade
I,
right there.
the Detroit City team last year, even though they were third in the East, I made a little table on kind of goal outputs in the offseason, and they were one of the worst. They, I think, were like 25th in the league with like expected goals and everything, which is fourth from the bottom. That's no slight against him. I think that is just they had a not a rock solid offense. So if we can put him inside of a team with an informed
JJ
JJ
Noah,
Williams,
yeah,
Chico, all of them. Oh my
it's
God.
different.
Oh my
It's so
God.
different.
It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be
Yeah,
absolutely crazy.
But good offense is just as good as their defense, right? Isn't that the saying? Which, like,
that's what they say.
Sure.
like talking about defense, like
Defense
who
wins
did we sign for
championships.
defense even?
Yeah, I mean, we got another absolute giant at the back, 6'4" Ugo Bacharach.
Whoa.
He's different. He is different. I think that we're gonna sort of see him as the fourth option center back. So if we're sticking with a back three, probably coming off the bench and getting cut minutes or rotational minutes. But this guy played for Flint City Buck in USL 2, as well as a little bit of time in Minnesota. He's big. He's big. He can step into midfield, you know what I mean? For our football
Yeah.
manager friends, he's kind of like a libero, if you will. Very fun to watch. And similar to Maxi Rodriguez, he's got great hair. I mean, this guy's got a
God,
semi-fro. It's kind of
I was gonna
tight.
say sort of a fro. Yeah.
Kind of a fro. I'm going to pull up a quick goal from him. I mean, this, like, his defensive action is great, but, like, I think that you can't talk about him without looking at this here. Free kick in. Bang. Little flick behind. I mean,
Oof.
what are we doing? That's a center back scoring a man's goal. Look at that. He's big. He's powerful.
Look at 24 right there. He's in utter disbelief. He's looking up
Wake
to the
Forest
sky for
guy.
an answer. The answer's right in front of you,
Yeah.
bud. His name's
He's
Ugo.
Brian.
He is massive. He is
He's massive.
huge.
He's a great guy. You know what I mean? Great player. He's brought. Let's see. Let me pull up some of his stats here. Pardon me. In MLS Next with Minnesota, where he played a little bit, he had some really good defensive numbers. His aerial duels won 68%. That's pretty solid. He's averaging at least one interception a game. Actually, upwards of 1.5. So, basically 2 interceptions every, what is that, like 3 games or something like that.
Yeah.
He's doing good stuff. He doesn't commit a ton of fouls. And he's got good recoveries. You know what I mean? He's averaging like 7 recoveries a game. All stuff that's really important with the way we play with a higher back line. You know what I mean? He's quick enough to get back and make those recoveries, which is huge as a big man. You know what I mean? And yeah, he's got a good passing range, I would say, as well. He's able
I was
to
gonna
sort of
say,
ping those passes from
didn't he
center
also
back forward.
didn't he also step up out of
Yeah,
center back? And he there was an article that was like he played DM for like the back end of a season, right?
yeah, that's right. I think that was in college at Indy.
Yeah.
And it's something interesting where, like, you know, I think it was against Oakland, sort of in the tail end of the season, we saw Grant Stoneman stepping into midfield for the first time.
Mhm.
And I think that, if that's a tactic that coach is looking to stick with, this is a guy to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Whether
because
off the bench or starting that way.
yeah, because we saw Frank also doing it as well. They were
Yeah.
letting Frank get that push when there was space ahead of him just to start driving it into the midfield and even into the attacking line. So
I mean, yeah. I'm a
getting another
Liverpool
guy.
fan for those that are curious, and I call it the
Word.
Joel Matip run because that's what I know him to do. You know what I mean? He picks the ball
Yeah,
up, he burns the defender, and next thing you know, he's on the edge of the box, and everybody's yelling shoot. So we might see a little bit of that from
we
him,
we
and I think that's very
we could
exciting.
probably see Bang.
I would love to see him bang one. Absolutely love it. So yeah,
Yeah,
he's got something to him that is different than our other center backs, I would say. Um, Especially in that passing range. You know what I mean? I feel like Karifa, he's a strong tackler. He's a strong guy in general, right? Like he's gonna body
sure.
guys. And Frank is just an aerial presence. He's also a strong tackler. And I think getting a tall, big aerial presence. This guy's 210. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah,
not going to get pushed around easily. Who also
more
has
of a
that passing
ball
range. I
playing
mean, he has an
ability.
88. Sorry.
The ball playing ability,
Yeah,
as you
he had
yeah,
88% pass accuracy with MLS Next with Minnesota. I mean,
yeah,
that's great. That's
that's
great
huge.
numbers.
That is huge.
So yeah, I think
Um,
that he's going to be a very exciting addition.
dude, especially like having him full time all season to be another one of those giants in the box for corners.
Mm-hmm.
Bring back the summer season, the summer boys taking flight. Oh my
I mean,
God.
yeah. I mean, you lose Morris Dugan, who's 6'4", but you just replace him with another
Bring
six
in,
four center back that's also strong, right? It's like,
yeah. It'll be exciting to see if he does what Morris was able to do with that tracking back, you know. But
he's
also,
23.
yeah, I also don't think we need to worry about comparing him to our old players. It's let him
Exactly.
be him.
He's 23. He's got a role that he can grow into for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
I think Karifa's 24, and I think Frank is around that age as well, but like Grant is 28, 29, right? And like there
yeah,
is some longevity with a signing like this. I think he's on a 1 year deal, but I think most USL deals are like a year with an option, a club option. So we could see him for a few seasons. And you think about Ugo when he's like 26, 6'4", he's going to hit the weight room even
yeah,
more. Honestly, he's just going to be an impenetrable force at the back line.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think he's going to be really interesting to watch grow. And I think that, sticking with the back line, Danny Rivera from Pittsburgh Riverhounds,
We had
he's
the
an
pleasure of
interesting guy.
watching him.
We
Yeah.
just didn't know it. We were too busy
We
I
had
know.
watching
no
our
idea.
own
We had no
guys.
idea.
We
Getting
weren't scouting. We weren't
smashed
scouting.
by them.
Yeah.
We made the
When we
drive
went out to
out to
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
So he's
His
sort of
only
the
assist that year was against us, right?
against us, and we didn't even see the goal. So don't ask us. We were too busy crying. Um, no, but he's sort of the Steven Turnbull replacement ish. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, there was some questions with, is Frank gonna play there? Is Clay gonna play there? The right wing back spot's kind of up in the air, but he is no doubt a right wing back.
Sure.
And he's interesting, you know what I mean? He's an offensive product. He didn't start a ton for Pittsburgh. I would say he was more bench piece. He started 10 games, 780 minutes played, but he featured in 28 matches. So you know what I mean? He's coming off the bench a decent amount. And he's all right for sure. He is definitely okay. He's got a good tackle one percentage. He's got 81%, basically 82% tackle wins percentage, and yeah, he can bomb it up the wing. I think that's something important to note.
He's
He can bomb it up
he's
the
a
wing.
kind of a little guy, which is good.
Yeah, he is. I can't
Get that
find his height. 175
He's
centimeters.
175,
if
which is
anybody's-
about, I think, it's like 5'8.5", 5'9".
He's 5'7". That's it. He's 5'7".
Interesting.
So small, quick little guy. You know what I mean? He's gonna. I think that really what we're looking for from our wing backs is like guys that are quick and can beat a man and get across into the box.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
I think
that's what we're looking for.
we got a very different look with Steven on the team.
Yeah,
And it was a great look. I mean,
no doubt.
for a lot of the season, it was absolutely brilliant. But I don't think it was what he really wanted, and also I don't think it was exactly what coach wanted. And if we can get this out of both sides now, I think we were so heavily reliant on that triangle out on the left wing through no fault of Steven's own, but just because it was JJ is a lot more attacking minded. And I think if we're able to balance that on both sides, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I'm trying to pull up this goal,
Yes,
but
sir.
he's all the way over here when this play starts. That's him. And just that nice run in and then bang. You know what I mean? But those like fullback to fullback balls.
I love it.
think that's a
I
great way
love
to
it.
play. And I think that this is just we're gonna see more of that basically.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I would say with sorry, Brian.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if we're sticking on defenders, still got more to talk about. More
We sure do.
signings.
We sure do. We finally got ourselves a backup left wing back, and his name is Aldair Sanchez. He came from Sacramento. He played a couple of years at Sacramento, 2 years. He made 68 appearances there and scored 3 goals. And all three of the goals were from last season. They are two of them. One was a tap in, one was a little silly scuff bounce shot. But the third goal he scored was against Charleston, and it was a really good one. And I think it underpins who he is as a player. He made this really good run from the left wing as his strike partner was back to goal. He makes this run from the outside in and just gets a perfect ball laid into his path and one times at far post. And I think
Nice. That's like a FIFA goal.
it really is. It really is. I think if he's able to produce something like that, I don't think we're going to see him starting really. I mean,
With
I think a
Georgia
lot of
being
these
on international duty, right? Like we saw
it's
that quite a few times.
that is very true. Didn't even think about that. I've only been thinking about. I think a lot of these guys we're about to talk about will be U.S. Open Cup and Jägermeister Cup showings, which is great. But I mean, when he comes on, I think he's going to be a really big spark plug. I think what's good about him and all the guys we've brought in is that we are adding to this bench and also strengthening the first team so that when we make substitutions, the level and intensity that we play at does not drop. And I think he will do this very well. He is only 22 years old. He's from Washington. He's 5'8", 5'7", 5'8", so he's also a little guy. He's rapid. His stats on FOTMob don't like entirely jump off the page. He's not the best defender per se, but I think at his young of age, that's easily taught and just learned through experience. I think that ability to have an attacking instinct, mindset, whatever you want to call it, I think that's a lot harder to teach. And he's a good crosser of the ball. He had one of the highest crossing completion percentages at 29%, and he completed 20 crosses. I think he's a good signing. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, but I can wait for your point to be over.
My point is done.
Okay, great. I was gonna just bring up like it feels like him and Danny are like good, quick guys coming off the bench that are going to be able to push teams back in like the 75th minute. You know what I mean? Like the USL is a league where it's like, obviously not the top tier of players, right? And bringing on guys that are able to like tire out opposition late in games is huge, and especially our wingers. You know what I mean? JJ's going to be beating up guys all game in the center of the pitch.
Yes.
All game.
Yes.
And especially healthy from the start of the season. And having the ability to to bring on wingers that are going to just push
Hmm.
the offense or the defensive line back is huge.
We were struggling with that, especially in the beginning of last season. Just not having the greatest bench depth. Love
Mm-hmm.
all the guys on the team, but it wasn't like the most awe-defying guys to bring off the bench. Did not always strike fear into the other team. And I do think that these guys really will raise that, elevate floor raise for this team.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you said, I agree with.
Look at that, like two peas in a pod.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But three-piece that we still need to talk about, you know?
Whoa,
We still got more.
I still do
I
got
love
more.
peas.
I do love peas, but I love Taimu Okiyoshi more. And he is a fifth year senior out of Marshall, which is where we also got Gabby Alves. Love that man. Hope he succeeds. What a
The
legend.
Marshall runner-up in the
Yeah,
college
so
D1
yeah,
soccer.
he was just part of that team that got upset by Vermont. Shout out Vermont. But he's 5'10, so a little undersized. Not really though, in comparison to the rest of our team. He's undersized, but for the league, no. 23 years old from Kobe, Japan. He was only at Marshall in his junior, senior, and fifth year. But once he joined, I mean, he was an absolute demon for them. He played almost every single game for them, played almost full 90s. He's a central midfielder, if I did not mention that already. He isn't full of goals, but he's a good creative player. He played a really interesting role in Marshall, kind of playing for our football manager fans. He kind of plays a Metzala out on the right, kind of hangs out in the right half spaces in attack. And when they're in possession, he's not one of the guys who was coming in deep to receive the ball, look up and pass. He always shaded out to the right and works really well in tight spaces, was really good at bouncing passes around. He's littered with awards throughout the year, bunch of All Americans, first team, All Southeast. But he also plays like a box to box midfielder. In that Vermont game, he had this really interesting role where he had to end up play as a right on the right side in attack, and then out of possession he played as a left defensive mid. So and he did great at both. He had to cover a lot of weird space, a lot of like diagonal space, and really held his own. Really calm. I think the big things about him for me was a he was like the tactical engine of the team. So he really was able to understand where everyone needed to go and how to get them there. And he also just ran the entire time. His short passing is awesome, really good at bouncing passes around. And if we can get that in conjunction with the rest of the midfield, I do think that's something that we can really change going forward. I failed to mention it earlier with Maxi, but I think he does the same thing. I think we can start playing as a team a lot more through the middle because of our ability to pass. These guys' ability to pass in really tight spaces. He's really cool and confident on the ball. He was, as I said, kind of like metronomic for Marshall. He reminds me of Zach Haribo, but he plays on the right, so could be pretty huge. Could be pretty
Like
huge.
that.
He seemed a little bored by the end of his college run, so I think this step up to a higher competition will be good for him. I'm a little worried about his physicality in the midfield. He's about the same height as Jack, and we saw what we saw, which was Jack getting a little bunt all over the place and losing out. But he's also 23 in a midfield that is at least 8 players deep. Probably not going to see him very much. Great player to have coming through for the future. I'm excited for him. Very
One
excited
for
for
the
him.
future. Feels like
Yeah,
a lot of these signings are nice for the future, guys,
and
Yes.
which is nice.
going from Marshall University to Providence College. What do we know about our boy Mr. Cole Dewhurst?
Yeah, Cole
Yeah,
Dewhurst. He's from up around my neck of the woods. He's from Lancaster.
yeah. Where do you live? Give your
Um,
address right now.
yeah, I'm gonna drop all of it. He plays for Providence College. Boo.
URI
But
fans over here.
yeah, we're
Not
URI
URI
fans.
fans. We went
Alums.
to
We
URI. Alums.
alum.
Big
He
URI
he
heads.
played all 4 years. He's a center back, 6'2", 21 years old. There's not like crazy much about him out there, but he started almost every game as a rookie. Didn't play as much as sophomore year. Started 17 games in his junior year, which he was all Big East, third team. And then in his senior year, he played all 22 games, where he kind of captained his defense to be one of the best defenses in the league, with a 1.01 goals against average, which is really good at the college level. He's big, 6'2". He's a little skinny. He's like my size, 160. So he's going to need to definitely put a weight on. But I think he was playing on the left of a two when they were in possession, and then the center of a three out of possession. I think he's
You know what
naturally
foot he is?
right-footed.
Yeah.
I think he's naturally right-footed, but he looked really comfortable on his left. So probably another guy we won't see for a while, but he looks interesting. He still looked like ball playing at the college level. He looked comfortable doing it. He's got big long legs, can cover ground really well. Was having to hold a good offensive or offside trap, which we like to do, and he did it well. Caught a good amount of guys offside. So, one for the future. Love it.
Shout out Cole. Cold Dewhurst, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been talking about all these defenders and midfielders, but we got a goalkeeper that we signed. Another one.
We got our third goalkeeper, which is huge. Every team needs that third goalkeeper. We got a Will Meyer. He's also 6'2", 26 years old. So a little bit older, but I think there's a chance we might see him a little bit more often. But even still, I think he's going to be really fighting Jackson for the deputy role against Koke. He played 2 seasons, his freshman and sophomore year at Louisville, then transferred to Akron, where he's from Ohio. He was a really good, highly decorated high school goalkeeper. He played well at Louisville with a 83 save percentage with 25 saves. Transferred to Akron, and then eventually he got drafted in 2021 to Nashville, never made an appearance there, moved to New York Red Bulls 2, made 2 appearances there, and then moved finally to New York City FC 2. She made 8 appearances. He looked pretty good. He wears a bandana. He was
I like
yeah,
that.
it's pretty sick. I really like it. He looked good. He played in this like one of those little small half field games or whatever, and very good at stopping the ball, which is huge. Good shot stopper, kind of the job. But he also was good at like his positioning was really good, especially in like really quick games like those are. Very fast between the sticks, and then looked pretty comfortable passing the ball, which is huge because that's what our goalkeepers need to be. It's good
Feels like
passes
he'll
of the ball.
learn. Feels like he'll learn well under Koke
Oh yeah,
Jackson for sure. For sure.
for
That's
sure.
huge. Huge.
But that's all good. But until we know where they're playing, it's all up in the air, which
Yeah.
we'll talk about eventually in our next video when it gets closer to the season. But I think that's, unless anyone has some final thoughts, I think that's good there.
Yeah. Um, our links are down in the description.
Hit us up.
Like, comment,
Subscribe.
ring that bell.
Add
You
us
know
to your
all-
favorites
you know.
list. Share with your mom. Share with your grandmother. Share with your dad. Share with your granddad. And we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you all.
Thanks all.